Hello there, my name is Mike. When I was 19, I found $1 million literally on the ground, but unfortunately, in the end, I lost more than I found. I studied journalism at college, and last fall, I attended a creative writing workshop in New York. On my way home, I was waiting for my train at the station and noticed something strange. A small black box lying near a coffee machine. I looked closer and opened the box. It was an engagement ring with a huge stone. For some reason, I was sure that the ring was a fake, so I had no problem with taking that find as a souvenir from New York for my girlfriend, Amanda. I arrived back at my college campus, but before giving that ring to Amanda, I decided to take it to an appraiser at the local jewelry shop. You know, just in case. An old, respectable gentleman examined the stone with some special equipment, and when he saw the engraving, he was completely shocked. It was a real diamond. I had found a 14-karat diamond ring at the railway station. It cost around $998,000. The appraiser suspected me of stealing it, but I told him the truth. We contacted the insurance company and determined the original buyer. His name was Johan. He was a mysterious rich guy from Europe who had inherited his wealth. The insurance company came and took the ring in order to deliver it safely. On my way home, I had very mixed feelings about that. Later that night, I was having dinner with Amanda. Suddenly, I received a FaceTime call from an unknown number. I thought it was the insurance company, but it was Johan himself. He was standing in front of a fancy party and sounded a little drunk. He wanted to thank me in person for saving his engagement ring and invited me to come over to Venice right away. Amanda cried, "Hey, what about me?" When Johan noticed Amanda, he invited her too. In addition, he promised to cover all of our expenses. It was very enticing. You know, visiting Europe has always been beyond my budget, so of course we agreed to go. In about a week, Johan's bodyguard, Jeff, arrived at our college campus in a luxury car and took us to the airport. We had a first-class flight. I'd never seen Amanda so excited. She was asking me to take her picture like every 5 seconds. In Venice, Jeff took us to a 5-star hotel. The receptionist welcomed us as if we were a royal couple. Even the bathroom itself in our suite cost more than my entire life. Jeff invited us to have coffee with the boss and warned us that Johan had become a little eccentric since he lost his mom, dad, and brother several years ago. We entered a nice restaurant with a terrace, and there he was, with his perfect smile, violet jacket, and white loafers. He was explaining to the chef that his panna cotta was not as authentic as it could be. I introduced myself and Amanda and shook his hand. Johan was quite the talker, but I didn't mind and just enjoyed my gelato. In the middle of our lunch, a stunning woman interrupted us. It was Isabella, Johan's fiancée. She jumped on his lap, kissed him, and asked, "Who are they, and why are they dressed like that?" Amanda got very confused, and I didn't know what to say. Johan introduced us as his dear guests and asked Isabella to take Amanda shopping to prepare for the yacht party scheduled for the evening. So, the ladies left, and I was left alone with Johan. He gave me an envelope with money to express his gratitude. He insisted that I should take it before I even tried to object. I thought, why not? It never hurts to have a little extra cash. When I arrived back at the hotel room, I carefully counted the money, and it was $10,000. I put it in the safe and prepared to take the best bath of my life. But suddenly, Jeff knocked on the door. He brought several outfits for me to try on. I said that I could go to the party in my jeans and t-shirt, but Jeff said that that was out of the question. Amanda was gone all day, and when she arrived, I could barely recognize her. Her natural brown hair had become blonde. She had beautiful evening makeup on and a red carpet gown. We arrived to the yacht, and it was even bigger than I had imagined. Johan noticed that my bow tie was a mess and invited me to his private cabin to help me with it. He told me that he was going to propose to Isabella that night, and as his brand new guardian angel, I had to be present. His hands were shaking. He was afraid that Isabella might reject him, which was ridiculous. I mean, I'd only known this guy for 1 day, and I already wanted to marry him. The party was awesome. I was dancing with Amanda and enjoying gourmet snacks. Then I got a little lost looking for a bathroom and saw something interesting. Isabella was kissing some stranger in the corner. They didn't see me and snuck into a cabin. I stepped closer to listen to their conversation, but they weren't talking a lot, if you know what I mean. The only thing I learned from that spy mission was the name of her lover, Sebastian. I didn't know what to do. Johan was going to propose to Isabella in 20 minutes. I found Amanda. She told me to tell Johan immediately. So I told Johan, and he got furious. He grabbed a bottle of whiskey and disappeared into the crowd. After 20 minutes, the music became solemn, and everyone was asked to gather on the deck. Johan stepped onto the stage and howled, "Isabella, come over here!" Isabella appeared from the crowd in all her glory. Johan fell on his knees in front of her like a drama queen and opened the box with the ring. He said, "Honey, today I was gonna propose to you with this ring, but an angel whispered to me that you're sleeping with my business partner. So I should probably just give this ring away to someone else." Then he put the box into Amanda's hand and approached Sebastian. Isabella tried to calm Johan down, but he grabbed Sebastian and threw him overboard. At that moment, the fireworks were launched, which made the situation even more ridiculous. Everyone was scrambling on the deck, trying to pull the backstabber out of the water. Meanwhile, I congratulated my girlfriend for earning $1 million just for being in the right place at the right time. I was a little jealous, though. Johan asked his guests to leave, and we spent the rest of the evening with him. He forced me to play chess with him and smoke cigars like an adult. And then, my girlfriend and I had a great night in our hotel room. The next morning, Johan invited us for breakfast and suggested going to his villa in Sicily. He wasn't ready to part with us, and he needed moral support. I really wanted to see his villa. Amanda was very excited too, so yeah. We spent 2 more days in Venice going to all the main tourist spots, and then went to Sicily on a boat with Johan and the ever-present Jeff, of course. His villa looked amazing. It had a winery, cellars, and a huge swimming pool. I felt like a complete loser in comparison with all this luxury. Meanwhile, Amanda was obviously having the time of her life. One night, Johan invited his friends for a pool party. A sultry woman named Francesca, who was in her 30s, was chasing me all night, despite the fact that she arrived with her husband. She insisted on applying lotion to my tender skin. That was awkward. After dinner, things got worse. Useful fact, rich people also play Truth or Dare. When it was my turn to do a dare, Johan told me to kiss Francesca. So I kissed her, and it wasn't disgusting. But Amanda wasn't jealous at all for some reason. When everyone went to play billiards, Francesca took me for a walk. She hinted that she was in an open relationship with her husband and tried to kiss me again. I explained that Amanda was my girlfriend, but Francesca laughed and asked, "Are you sure?" That pissed me off. I went to sleep early, but I couldn't sleep all night. Amanda returned from the party at 4 a.m. The next morning, I suggested that we go back to the USA, but Amanda protested. Johan had already promised to show her a bunch of beautiful places on the island. She didn't want to miss the opportunity to advance her Instagram posts. Well, I just gave up. Later that night, Jeff drove the 3 of us to a beautiful rocky beach. The walk was beautiful, but stressful, because I had to watch over Amanda, who was taking videos and pictures the whole way. And I had to watch Johan, who was drunk and stumbling the entire time. After swimming, I fell asleep on the beach. When I woke up, my skin was on fire, and nobody had woken me up. Amanda was posing in her swimsuit by the shore, and Johan was taking pictures. I crawled into a shady beach bar. When Johan and Amanda returned to me, she showed me all of her pictures, and it was only then that she noticed that I looked like a lobster. They took my poor body to the villa and put me to bed. Meanwhile, Johan and Amanda left for an art exhibition without me. But Johan invited Francesca to come and brighten up my loneliness. She jumped into my bed and we watched a movie. She cooled my skin with her cocktail glass and it felt like heaven. Nothing happened between us, but we fell asleep in the same bed. When Amanda returned, she cried, "What the heck?" Francesca grabbed her bag, said goodbye, and left. I tried to explain myself, but Amanda didn't listen. She decided to go sleep downstairs. In the middle of the night, I decided to go and talk to her. I checked everywhere. No Amanda, no Johan. And finally, I found them kissing by the pool. Oh, I got very mad. I threw the phone at Johann's head, but he dodged, and the phone landed in the pool. Amanda was trying to save her phone while Johann was trying to calm me down, but I ran away because I didn't want them to see me crying. My skin was still hurting, and I decided to continue the scandal the next day. But in the morning, Jeff told me that Johann and Amanda had left for Switzerland. He provided me with an airplane ticket to the USA and an even bigger envelope of money. I refused to take them and left that awful place as soon as I got better. As for Amanda, after a week, she texted me that she was going to stay with Johann and thanked me for